log. Day 1. Planet Earth. Greetings, carbon-based entities of the third planet in the Sol system. My designation is Xylar 12, observational field agent for the Zarnok Intergalactic Curiosity Division, where our motto is, we scan so you don't have to. I have cataloged star krill migrations, performed mimicry of sun frogs on Galactic, and even recorded the mating sounds of the lava whales of Glorban Prime, which sound suspiciously like trombones being boiled alive. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what awaited me on Earth. This assignment was flagged routine cultural observation. That was a lie. I arrived cloaked above a landmass humans call the United States of America. I selected a small town called Boise in a region known as Idaho. I chose this location based on its minimal population density and promising levels of fast food, disguised as a human male of average appearance, average smell, and average shoe size. I adopted the identity of Greg. I learned about Greg from a mug in a thrift store that said, Number 1, Greg. It felt right. I walked among them unnoticed, probably because humans rarely look up from their glowing rectangles. These devices, called phones, appeared to have enslaved them with images of dancing, arguments, and animals falling off furniture. My first morning on Earth, I encountered a phenomenon that nearly caused my primary processor to short-circuit. Breakfast. Let me describe this ritual. At 8:06 a.m., I was invited by a kind neighbor named Linda to join her family for what she called a good old-fashioned breakfast. She said this with pride. Her hair was shaped like a puffed pastry. Her robe said, Live, laugh, love, which I found confusing because she was currently yelling at a small creature named Kyle for eating glue. As I sat at their long food-covered table, I smelled something intoxicating. Sweet, salty, oily, something sizzling. What is that scent? I asked. Linda smiled. That, Greg, is bacon. Bacon. Pig flesh, sliced thin, salted, and burned to near crispness. The humans passed it around like a sacred offering. Linda's husband, Hank, said, You haven't lived till you've had bacon. This confused me. I was, by all galactic definitions, alive. But clearly I was missing something vital. I accepted a piece. Warm, crunchy, greasy, salty, slightly sweet. It tasted like victory, like sin, like danger and comfort having a baby in your mouth. My antennae twitched. Internally, of course. I had retracted them for my human disguise. Would you like more? Linda asked. I panicked. I attempted to say, yes, please. But my translator hiccuped and instead I blurted, Feed me your beasts. There was silence, then laughter. Hank slapped his thigh. I like this Greg guy. And just like that, I was in. I was accepted. Over pig meat. This must be their bonding ritual. I recorded everything. Subject responds positively to meat. Laughter follows awkward statement. Affection grows exponentially. The rest of the meal included other items. Eggs, protein from a bird's uterus, toast, burned plant loaf, orange juice, liquid squeezed from a spherical fruit that tastes like electricity, and coffee, a black bitter fuel that appears to power their entire civilization. 1 cup in, and Linda said, Now I'm human again. What was she before? Field note, human behavior. Humans consume their own energy source by roasting it, sweetening it, then dipping other food into it. They complain about their digestive systems while feeding them pure chaos. They eat sugar for breakfast. Sugar, first thing in the morning. And somehow they survive. But what really puzzled me was how they all talked at once. Everyone shared their thoughts simultaneously with no order, no hierarchy. Kyle talked about a lizard he saw, Hank about sports ball statistics, Linda about Karen from work, whom she both hates and admires. And me. I tried to share an observation. Did you know that on Chlorban Prime, the twin suns align every 36 cycles to form a light cone that... Kyle, stop licking the cat. Linda yelled. I was cut off. Not rude, just human. Still, it was oddly pleasant. No scripted responses, no data packets, just noise, emotion, and love. They bickered, teased, shouted, but it all bounced off like rubber. I've seen entire Zarnak councils fall into war over a misplaced comma. But here, chaos was part of the design. The encounter that changed everything. Later that day, Hank invited me to help in the garage. I assumed this was a lab or weapons depot. It was not. It was a place filled with tools. Heavy, dangerous-looking devices that humans use to fix other devices. Hank handed me one called a socket wrench. Just help me change the oil, he said. I nodded and stared at the car's underbelly like it was a collapsed star. What is oil? Why does it need changing? Why is this ritual so filthy? Then Hank said something I'll never forget. He looked at me and said, You're good company, Greg. Don't talk much, but you listen. That's rare. My seven-chambered heart clicked softly. Was this a compliment? I responded awkwardly. You have efficient bone symmetry and a symmetrical jawline. He laughed again. Humans are so hard to offend. Final thoughts, day one. So far, Earth is dirty, noisy, unpredictable, and emotionally unstable. And I like it. I came here to observe. But already I feel something pulling at me. Not gravity, not curiosity, but maybe belonging. Tomorrow I attempt a ritual known as dating. I downloaded an app called Swips Right, where humans look at images of each other and decide within seconds if they want to reproduce. Wish me luck. And log. Big and log. Day 2. Planet Earth. By Zarnokian standards, I am trained. A 10-year veteran of over 77 planetary expeditions. I once translated dolphin love poetry on Triton. I successfully mimicked a sentient moss colony on Rodak 9 for 6 cycles before anyone noticed I wasn't actually moss. But nothing in my interstellar resume prepared me for dating on Earth. Let me explain. After my first field report, which included my unexpected addiction to bacon and an awkward compliment involving jaw symmetry, I received a new directive from the Curiosity Division. Engage in human social courtship rituals, record behaviors, attempt not to frighten or offend. So, like any responsible alien infiltrator, I downloaded the app, Swipes Right. A digital platform where humans showcase carefully filtered images of themselves and decide who they want to date by performing the sacred act of swiping. Swipe left, rejection. Swipe right, reproduction possibility. The app asked me to build a profile. I attempted to answer honestly. Name, Greg. Age, 34. Humans are suspicious when you say unknown solar rotations. Bio. Adventurous, curious, speaks 17 languages, has 3 spleens. Optional. I included a profile picture that I generated using AI to approximate a friendly Greg face. It looked like a Midwestern school teacher who could also be a lumberjack on weekends. Within minutes, I had 3 matches. Was I desirable? Or did I trigger curiosity-based swipes? Either way, I was in. Subject, Becca. First date. My first match was a human female named Becca. Her profile included a photo of her holding a coffee, a second photo with a mountain, a third photo in front of a bathroom mirror with the words, I'm a Libra, don't judge. This Libra thing puzzled me. Log note, Libra is one of 12 arbitrary sky symbols humans use to predict their own emotional behavior. Despite scientific advancements, many believe these symbols determine compatibility. Fascinating. We agreed to meet at a location called Java Lava Cafe, a den of hot bean liquids, laptop tapping, and soft jazz music played through invisible boxes. I arrived precisely 2 minutes early, adjusted my human disguise, and ordered a drink called a dirty chai latte. Still unclear what's dirty about it. Becca walked in, shorter than her photos, hair dyed an unnatural shade of galactic sunset, and carrying what I later learned was a crystal of vibes. She smiled. I smiled back. She sat. "So, Greg," she said, "what do you do?" Dangerous question. I panicked. I could have said research analyst or tech consultant. But no, my translator chose violence. "I scan your species for anomalies," I said flatly. She paused. Then she burst into laughter. "Oh my God, are you like one of those guys into conspiracy stuff?" I nodded. "Absolutely." She nodded back, sipping her beverage. "Cool. I'm into crystals and astrology, so that's kind of my vibe." Her vibe. Fascinating. Cultural mismatch and accidental success. As the date continued, I made a few more blunders. When she asked what I look for in a partner, I said, "Sturdy skeletal structure, excellent bone density, reproductive efficiency." She nearly choked on her drink. "You're funny." I smiled. Later, she asked what my sign was. I said, "Caution, may overheat." Again, laughter. What was happening? Every time I said something completely truthful, something that would have gotten me demoted on Zarnok, she interpreted it as humor. Was honesty a form of entertainment on Earth? Then she leaned in and asked, "So, Greg, what are you really looking for?" I studied her face. Honest curiosity, real emotion, and probably 80% caffeine. I decided to try human-style vulnerability. I want to experience what it's like to connect, to feel without calculation, to laugh without data, to not know what's next. There was a pause. Becca's eyes softened. "Wow, that's actually really deep. Deep." I didn't fall into a trance, but she looked pleased, so I nodded like I meant to be profound. "I like your energy," she said. I almost replied, "It's a fusion core calibrated to 84%, but caught myself just in time. The hug, a complex ritual. The date ended with her walking me to my vehicle, a beige minivan I acquired from Craigslist. Don't ask. She turned to me. "Well, this was fun. Let's do it again sometime." Then she opened her arms. The hug. I knew of it. I studied it. But theory is not practice. I initiated the Zarnokian parting gesture, which involves a 270-degree arm rotation and an affectionate exhale through the pores. Bad idea. My arms twisted unnaturally. She stepped back. "Whoa, yoga much?" I reset. I reached forward. We collided gently. The hug lasted 1.7 seconds. It was oddly comforting. "You're kind of weird," she said, stepping back. I panicked again. "Do you wish me to depart?" She laughed. Number I like weird. Aftermath. Strange reactions in the chest cavity. Back in the minivan, I sat in silence. Something unusual stirred in my central cavity. Not indigestion, though the dirty chai latte may have started something sinister. No, it was warmth. Not heat, but soft energy. Not chemical, not electric. Could this be feelings? I radioed my superior back on Zarnok. "Mission update. Human courtship rituals are unpredictable, illogical, and emotionally chaotic. Also, kind of enjoyable. Further testing recommended." I looked at my communicator. Becca had sent a message. "Hey, Greg. Had fun. Let's hang again next week. My translator interpreted the star emoji as symbolic cosmic approval. I accepted. Closing thoughts. Day 2. Dating a human is like trying to solve a math equation that's crying and laughing at the same time. They are spontaneous, driven by emotion, mystery, caffeine, and things called vibes. But they also care. Deeply. I came here expecting science. What I found is connection. Tomorrow, I try a new human ritual called grocery shopping. Linda says I need real food in my fridge. She doesn't know I've been surviving on ketchup packets and toaster waffles. Begin log. Day 3. Planet Earth. I woke to a strange sensation this morning. Not the acidic bubble of bad toaster waffles. Not the caffeine jitters I now get from something called Mountain Dew Code Red. No, this was internal. A non-biological urge. I wanted to go outside. I, Xylar 12 of Zarnag, wanted to be around humans. Not just observe. Not just catalog. Not just collect data. I wanted to exist among them. Linda, my neighbor, bacon provider, and spiritual noise machine, yelled from across her driveway, "Greg, you look like you've been living off freezer food. We're going grocery shopping. Let's go." I didn't even argue. I put on pants and followed her into her land vehicle, which she called the Camry. She whispered to it before starting the engine, "Come on, baby, one more ride." Do humans worship their machines? Must investigate. Entering the Temple of Chaos, Megamart. The store was called Megamart. The slogan above the entrance read, "Everything you need, whether you need it or not." That should have been a warning. Inside was a fluorescent-lit cathedral of chaos. Cart-wielding humans roamed aisles like scavengers in a simulation. Eyes wide, mouths slack, Bluetooth earbuds glowing like tribal implants. The smell, a collision of raw meat, artificial strawberries, and cleaning chemicals. My olfactory nodes recoiled. "This," Linda said, "is where civilization happens." I looked around. Civilization. It looked like organized panic wrapped in shiny packaging. I followed Linda through the aisles as she explained things. "That's cereal. Yes, it's supposed to be that colorful. This is milk, but it's not actually milk. It's almond juice pretending to be milk. Those are Hot Pockets. You eat them when you've given up on life." I took notes. Mental, of course. My wrist scanner would have been hard to explain. First disaster, the egg incident. It began in the dairy section. Linda handed me a container of white ovals. "Check if the eggs are good." So I opened the box, pulled one out, and took a bite. Raw, shell and all. Crunchy. Not unpleasant, but not optimal. Linda screamed, "Greg, what the hell? You don't eat the shell." "Why not?" I asked, mouthful. "It is part of the unit. Full consumption increases efficiency." She looked horrified. "Greg, you're not a raccoon." Correction. Raccoons apparently do eat eggs whole. Fascinating. I apologized. The cashier did not accept the chewed egg carton. I replaced it. Linda added, "Teach Greg how to cook" to her mental to-do list. Second disaster, the talking lobster. I wandered briefly into a corner of the store labeled seafood. Inside a tank, I saw creatures that resembled the death bugs of Kaltor, a hostile species that once tried to colonize our moons. Here, humans called them lobsters. One was looking directly at me. I stared into its eyes. It raised a claw. Was it communicating? Linda came over. "They cooked them alive. You want one?" My voice trembled. "They are sapient." She laughed. "No, they're just delicious." I turned back to the lobster. He seemed to understand. I mouthed, "Run." His eyes blinked once, twice, then stillness. I moved on. I still think about him. Linda's list of rules I apparently broke. By the time we reached checkout, Linda had established several Greg rules for future shopping trips. No licking the produce, just to understand flavor profiles. No scanning barcodes with my multi-spectrum device to compare nutritional data across galaxies. No asking children, what emotional void are you trying to fill with marshmallow cereal? No saluting the security guard while whispering, "The Earth core remains stable, Commander." And finally, no eating eggs like apples. Duly noted. A surprise visit and an unfamiliar feeling. As we loaded the Camry, I heard a voice call out, "Greg." It was Becca, from the date. The Libra, the vibe enthusiast. She had a grocery basket, headphones around her neck, and a sweatshirt that said, "Emotionally unavailable but trying." She smiled. "Didn't expect to see you here. Shopping for the apocalypse." "Apparently," I replied. "Also, I ate an egg the wrong way and committed crustacean heresy." She laughed. "You really are different." I nodded. "You mean weird?" "No," she said, stepping closer. "I mean, refreshing." Then she looked into my eyes. "I'm headed to the park later. Want to come?" My voice caught for a moment. Was this a secondary social ritual? A follow-up bonding sequence? "I would like that," I said. She smiled. "Cool. Bring snacks. Just not live once." Postscript. I think I like this planet. Later. Sitting alone in my beige Craigslist minivan with a bag of groceries and a mind full of strange new data, I reviewed my experience. Humans are not logical. They are inefficient, disorganized, overly emotional, highly scent-based, and addicted to portable screens and sodium. But they are also generous. They forgive easily. They laugh at pain. They dance when no one's watching. They flirt by throwing sarcasm like it's a challenge. And when they bond, really bond, it feels like something more powerful than any technology I've known. It feels like purpose. Final transmission to the Zarnogian Curiosity Council. Mission status integrated. Recommendation: reclassify Earth from primitive chaos sphere to emotionally advanced species with poor nutritional judgment. Further study advised. Also, request permission to stay longer. There's more bacon to explore and possibly someone who sees me for who I am, even if she thinks I'm just quirky Greg. End log. Epilogue. A picnic in the park. I met Becca under a tree. We sat on a blanket. She offered me strawberries. I offered her freeze-dried kelp from Glarben 7. She tried it, chewed, gagged, swallowed, then smiled. "You're really not from around here, huh?" I just said, "Not exactly." And she said, "Good." The sun was warm. The air was messy. My disguise itched. But for the first time since arriving on Earth, I didn't feel like a scientist. I felt human, even if I still don't know why you don't eat the shell.